My name's Jeff Jamon, and I'm the CEO of Talent Technology. I was actually in Bali. I got in a taxi from the airport, and there was plastic on the side of the road. Taxi driver commented on how bad it was. To get to the village from the factory, you walked through a meter of plastic waste. And I thought, yeah, this is beyond a joke now.
86% of all waste in Australia is actually put into landfill. Only 13% of it is recycled. So my name's Sam Melrose. Ever since I was a kid, I've been involved in scuba diving. My dad's been doing it since he was about my age and made his career out of it, so I've grown up with it. The biggest part for me is understanding the sort of environmental impact that plastic has in the ocean and actually having seen it firsthand. So as soon as I heard about the idea that I could get involved in taking it out of the ocean and finding something to do with the material that is sort of ruining the environment, I just love the idea of it and problem solving and figuring out how to do it, because it's been years and years and years that we've kind of had this issue, but no one's ever really come up with a viable solution that's really made a huge impact.
I understand, and we as a company understand plastics, but we also understand the product development cycle and how to make unusual things from weird materials. And it struck me that this was not such a hard problem, but the existing people in it were incapable of a solution. There is a big difference between us and what everybody else does. So we're lucky because we're in a consortium with the University of Southern Queensland called No Waste, and that's been a big help. We've collaborated with them on the development of both process and parts. A lot of the progress we've made in the last 6 months and our ability to get to Fiji, that really has been a function of the support of USQ. That's how the LPM project evolved. The whole plastics recycling industry works on a collect and sort model. It's got problems, it's not clean enough, or it's not in the right color, it's not in the right volume. So their business plan collapses because their customer doesn't pay.
The recycling industry thinks at the moment is that we need to have everything as clean and as sorted as possible in order to be able to be used. That's just not true entirely. We can actually use plastic as a conglomerate and just put it all in one big pile and melt it together, and as long as you can get it to fuse together, it doesn't really matter that it's all mixed up. We've actually developed a technology where we can take plastic bags and melt it through fibers like your t-shirts and bed sheets, stuff like that. So this is a street pole, or a section of a street pole that we've manufactured. As you can see, it's sort of like the brownie color. That's the flax material we've used on the outside, and we tried to have that as a bit more of a organic material and it kind of delve into the bit of sustainability side of that. Underneath that layer there's also some fiberglass. That is just giving our strength and rigidity so that these things can actually sustain the weights and stuff that are put onto them. And then the inside on the ends here is just the complete mixed plastic that's, primarily plastic bags, kid toys, buckets, hard hats. Pretty much if you were to empty out your yellow bin on the floor, we would just take that, shred it down and put it into a street pole.
The stuff has such low value, you can't put it in a box and send it to Jakarta for processing. The economics of that makes no sense at all. So you've got to process it at a village level. We haven't proved that system works, but Fiji will prove that out.
Fiji's kind of started out, we've got a couple of people over there who are helping us sort of set up this project, and we're running it in a place called CATD, and they train up these local Fijians to be electricians and carpenters and plumbers, and they're technically able people. And we're going to be installing a small little factory over there with the machinery we've developed. Our main focus is that Asia Pacific region where it doesn't have that sort of infrastructure. We have the machineries that is simple benchtop machinery that we can use to turn that plastic into product. We've come up with a process and a few products that we've manufactured, some being frisbees, street poles, bowls and platters and stuff like that. Just everyday consumer product, but also infrastructure product, with the hope that these street poles will be then eventually brought back to Australia and used within councils and facilities over here in Australia. And it will be completely made of the waste that washes up on the beaches in Fiji, the waste that's collected in the local environment, or any of the plastic the locals produce.
So we will be able to use Fiji as our benchmark to say, okay, it works here, this is the product we make, this is how we make it, this is the materials we use, this is the labor input that's used. And so we will be able to framework a true business model. But more importantly, it becomes a template for every other community in the Asia Pacific.
Developing this sort of technology to put ourselves in that area, but also train up the locals so they can run it themselves. We don't actually have to be involved. Plastic's going to be around to stay, and we've got to figure out what to do with it the way that it is. And this is sort of where the whole project stemmed from, is an idea that we want to make plastic recycling as simple and easy as possible, I don't want the oceans to go anywhere. I want it to be a world where even, down the track, I can keep exploring it, and maybe one day my kids and stuff like that do that too. So I want to make sure it's still there.